And welcome back to the Awfully Irish podcast.
Are we getting on, lads? We all right?
Not too bad.
We have ourselves a guest, Mr. Keanu Lam. How about you introduce yourself?
What's up? I'm Keanu Lam.
Hey! You want to get an idea about this guy, Thomas? Pull up his IMDb.
Of course. But for you, why don't you explain to the people what you do?
All right. Yeah, so actually, funny enough, I don't even, on my biography on the IMDb, I actually tried to get rid of it just because someone, a fan, like from 2000 and, I don't even remember, like 13 or 12 or something like that, wrote my bio and just wrote a bunch of random stuff some of it's true and some of it's not true, but they wrote it as my ex-girlfriend, and I asked her, I'm like, did you write this? She's like, no, so it's kind of weird. Anyway, yeah, like I said, my name's Keanu. I work in the film industry. My dad's a stuntman and stunt coordinator kind of thing, and we can get in depth about what that means. I started when I was 11, and I kind of just been doing it since I was a kid, and worked in different places, worked on different shows, had different job titles, and things of that nature. Yeah.
So, take us from the very beginning. You're going to tell us your whole story. Your first job as a stuntsman, and the training it took for that as well.
Oh, okay, sure. So like I said, my dad's a stuntman. He was a professional martial artist, I guess you could say, and my mom also was a martial artist too. So we had a martial arts studio, and I started doing that when I was 3. So I was doing taekwondo and a martial art called wushu. So I did that. I kind of did it competitively. I wasn't a very competitive person. I was kind of lazy, not gonna lie. And I also had to train all day long. Yeah. So to spell taekwondo, I help you out. It's T-A. Yeah, that right there.
Got it, man. Don't worry. My
Taekwondo
phone atrocious. You're going to see that a lot.
It's all good, man. Taekwondo is a Korean martial art, and it's primarily based off kicking. So that's kind of what that is. And wushu is a Chinese martial art that's kind of like dance and performance, and it's a little bit hard to explain, but a lot of weapons, a lot of forms. So both of them were a more kind of aesthetic, if anything, not too much combative, just more a good foundation. So I was 11 years old. 11 or 12, I believe. I can't really remember. And my dad was already kind of a stuntman. He was a fight coordinator and choreographer and all that stuff. And so a movie came around called G.I. Joe in 2008, and I auditioned. I actually didn't even know what I was doing, to be honest. My parents were really into me trying to get into film, and I was super not into that. I was a big skateboarder and surfer kind of kid, and I just could care less about anything like that. But I ended up auditioning for it, and I ended up being able to be on the team. I doubled young Storm Shadow, this kid named Brandon Suhu, and yeah, I just met all these kids from LA that were really good, and I never really was introduced to like a level of martial arts that they were doing. So I think that kind of started my interest of getting kind of better at martial arts, because I just saw this whole new world, and how achievable I guess it was. And then yeah, so that was kind of my first introduction. It was G.I. Joe. It was my first job ever. Actually, my dad and I both doubled the same character. I doubled the young version of Storm Shadow, and he doubled the adult guy. So that was kind of cool. And then, yeah, ever since then, I just kind of worked here and there in film as much as I could. The guys that did John Wick, I did one of their first movies they ever directed, funny enough. It's called King of Fighters. It's kind of a shitty movie, but they had to start somewhere, so now they're legendary. And yeah, it's like off a video game or something like that. I just had like a random another kid role kind of in it. And yeah, man, I don't know, just kind of kept working in film here and there.
Now, just to get an idea of the things he's done in film. Again, Thomas, go into his IMDb. We're just going to go take a quick look.
I live to serve.
There's a show here everyone's heard of, or a movie as well.
Yeah.
And sorry if I'm not being super detailed. I'm pretty bad at talking about myself, so I'm like not used to that at all. I might be. If you want to know something specific, you might have to ask me specifically, because I might just be like, oh, I don't like. I did a show.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's IMDb is a really hard reference to actually go by. And the reason why, so you'll see like some people might have like 200 credits, but the problem with IMDb, it doesn't entirely get into detail. So like the reason why I would have 51 credits is because I'm typically on show runs, which means I'm on a production for like almost the entire series, like however long the show is, might be 8 months, 12 months, 4 months, whatever it is. So you typically get less credit, but you end up working on shows way longer. And everybody has a different job in film. So as stunts, there's things called non-disclosure stunts, which basically you show up for one day and you get punched in the face. So it's kind of interesting. So some guys will have like 300 credits, but they didn't really do anything. They just kind of get hit in the face, and then that's it. So yeah, like a lot of these shows, I was usually a fight choreographer or a fight coordinator, assistant fight coordinator. I was on the stunt team, trained the actors, a lot of that. I started that quite early, actually. When I was like 19, I started doing that. I was really lucky that I was trusted with that, with a lot of stuff. So it's kind of why I didn't do that. And also, to be honest, I'm not even sure those are all my credits. I'm pretty bad at putting it on there. So yeah.
So let's just go and say a couple of ones that people might recognize. Altered
Sure.
Carbon, big one. Riverdale, Shazam, Skyscraper, Deadpool 2, The X-Files, Arrow, War for the Planet of the Apes, Supergirl, Power Rangers, Wayward Pines. That was one of my favorite shows. I'm going to ask you a couple things about that after. The 100, another one of my favorite shows. The Flash, Godzilla, Percy Jackson, Sea of Monsters, The Twilight Saga, and G.I. Joe. Now, you must be living under a rock if you haven't heard of at least one of those. And I just said some of the more known ones.
Yeah, I just finished a movie called Snake Eyes 2, which is like another G.I. Joe reboot.
And when should that be out, do you know?
I think they said October this year, but I'm not sure. Who knows? Everything's changing.
Yeah.
It's changing since the Fire Nation attack.
You a fan of Avatar?
No, not really. Everyone on my TikTok is a fan of Avatar, so I've been just kind of forced to like look it up. I mean, no, it's a cool show, but I definitely one of those kids that like watched a bunch of Family Guy and South Park growing up. I didn't really watch.
They're rebooting it, or not rebooting it. They're doing a live action version with Netflix.
Yeah,
It'd be pretty cool when they get involved in.
It's kind of funny. The people that follow me on TikTok are like trying super hard to like get me to play Zuko or any character on it. They've been like tagging Netflix on my stuff, and it's been kind of funny. I'm like, that's super cool.
I kind of see that.
Huh?
I said I can kind of see that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I'd disappoint because I probably wouldn't play Zuko the way they wanted to. I definitely don't like being a whiner, and that kid's a whining, big whiner in the movie, so I probably wouldn't play it like that. But so, yeah, I don't know. They're most likely that stuff doesn't really work. I think if I had like 3 million fans, 3 million followers, then it would be a little bit different. I think the studio would take it more seriously, but in retrospect, they typically want to always pick somebody that has a bit more of a bigger following or a also, too, relationships are really important in Hollywood. So sometimes those writers or producers already have people in mind for that role like years in advance. So it's actually that's why they say like becoming an actor is like winning the lottery. It's also a lot of that stuff is predetermined.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm just gonna grab some more.
Oh, very good.
See you around.
Dara, fix your mic.
Thomas, pull up his show reel on YouTube real quick.
Yeah, that's grand. Oh my god, go away. Right. Is this it? The reel, yeah?
That's the one. Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at the reel.
I'm gonna look at the reel.
Yeah.
You're not gonna copy strike me, man, are you?
What?
Copy strike me now.
I don't even know which one this is.
This is the 2019 one.
Shit, I might have just threw that together on an iPhone and like put it on there to send it to somebody. I don't.
Jesus, my computer's really slow. Sorry about this.
Power of the dark side.
Turn off the volume for it.
Yeah,
For anyone listening to this podcast, it's basically just Keanu ripping through guys, and he was on fire for a scene.
Oh yeah, man, you got to tell us about that. That is.
There's a body slam here. Some insane kicks.
Jesus, man.
Snowboarding. And Boda's on site stomp. By Deadpool.
Yeah, man, you got to talk to us about you being set on fire. Because I was watching your live stream last night, and you said that. Nah, I was, man.
That's dodgy. I can see that going wrong in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the So yeah, I'll explain two things. One, it's funny when you guys watch some people's demo reels. Sometimes like that one in particular, I shouldn't even call it a. Yeah, I guess it is a reel. I used to have one that shows like all the movies I'm in, but the reason why a lot of that stuff is like rehearsal footage or like me just like fighting and whatnot. It's important to show your actual skill set of what you can do. A lot of people kind of put their actual like stuff they've done in movies, and sometimes it doesn't translate the same. But anyway, being lit on fire, yeah. So I've never done a full body burn. We tested that one out. I didn't really film it because we were kind of nervous. That's the only one I got. The end result, we ended up just doing it all the way up to my shoulder, but we did start it from like my back and my whole arm. So that was pretty scary. It's definitely not a common stunt that anyone gets to do. Any dangerous stunt that you're asked or given the opportunity is 100% based on the relationship with you and that coordinator, and also has to do a lot with your like experience. Like you would think randomly if you get into stunts like, yeah, I'm gonna get hit by a car. It's like, no, you're definitely, if you're new, you're not doing anything. You're gonna be getting people coffee. Like not really, but you're gonna get like fall down and get hurt, kind of see where you're at. So yeah, it was a pretty cool opportunity. They have this special, so you wear this thing called Nomex underneath your clothes, which is like a racing kind of suit, I guess you can say, and it just helps protect your skin as much as it can. And then they put this special gel. Two guys that we work with here actually got, I think, an award for making this new fire gel that's really good. It lasts for a long time, and it really creates that barrier really quick. But getting lit on fire, it's really hot, really fast, and you might not feel it for a couple seconds, and then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, this is super hot.
Like, oh my God, I'm on fire.
Yeah, a little bit. And so you think like when you see people in movies, and the reason why they like walk like a scarecrow is because you would think, you're like, oh, why don't they like move and flail and all that stuff? And in real life, people would move and flail and burn, they're melting. But because the fire starts to engulf around you, even if it's a small part, if you inhale the fire, I mean, if you breathe in, you will actually roast your insides. So that's a big thing. So you're actually trying to keep it away from you, and you're not trying to make huge motions because you can end up, it can go sideways real quick. And also too, like no matter what, your probably eyebrows and eyelashes might get singed. One of my friends, she definitely had a full fire burn, and it fucking, no matter, they prepped it and all that stuff. And yeah, it's really dangerous. It's definitely one of the cooler gags you can do. But yeah, it's incredibly dangerous for sure. I was really lucky to even just got a little bit on fire, so it was pretty cool. I would do it again, maybe. I don't know if I would ever do a full fire burn. It's pretty sketchy.
How many takes did you have to do for that?
Not much. Usually big gags like that, you don't do it a lot. But realistically, you try to get it 1 to 2 takes. Yeah. I've never seen anybody do a fire burn more than like 3 times. You're fucking up if you're doing it. Usually it's like 1 time. You're not gonna do it again. But it depends. I can't speak for everybody. There's no one method for anything. There's no one like rule. Every show, every person, is completely different. You have some guys out there that will do it fucking 50 times. They don't care. Kind of some stuntmen are pretty gnarly.
I'm gonna assume the pay must be worth it.
Depends where you live. Some
Like
stuntmen around
if
the
I was
world.
paying a guy to set himself on fire, unless it was Dara, I'm assuming they're gonna expect a lot of money for that.
No. So it depends where you live.
No?
Like if you live in North America, yeah, you can negotiate your adjustment depending how big the fire burn is. But like people in India, people in China, people in Japan, they get paid like $100 for a day. Like it's not. A lot of people assume that like if you work in the movie industry, you get paid loads of money, and that's not true. North America, Canada, America, I think the UK, they get compensated very well. So yeah, in that regards, that it's true. But there's a lot of places around the world that if you're a stuntman, you're making jack shit. You're like really not making a living. Um, and that's why a lot of people try to get into North America because it's definitely you can make an actual career out of it. So I'm really and that's crazy because people in Japan and China are also some of the best stuntmen in the world, and they get beat the living crap out of each other, and they don't get paid very well. They should get paid a lot more for sure.
Have you ever had to work in those countries? Or
I
anywhere
never worked.
outside the US?
No, Canada and the U.S. Have I worked in? No. I've been in different shoots when I was a kid when my dad was in other places. Um, and we would go over there, and that's kind of how I like met those guys and like talked to them and whatnot. We all were supposed to go to Japan for Snake Eyes, but they didn't want to pay us, which makes sense because they have the Japanese guys over there to do it. So yeah, it's I think because I've been overseas a bunch when my dad was over there, it's really not that grand of a time. I'm gonna be completely honest. Um, Especially when you have a family and kids and dogs, it's like your hours are like ridiculously long. You're working like 15, 16 hours really, minimum, honestly. And you do this every day for months on end. So a lot of people try to stay local if they can. If they have the opportunity, they will. And I've been really lucky that Canada and the US have been so busy with filming, and especially Vancouver was just a bucket full of for film. Um, I had just the luxury to be able to stay there as much as possible.
It's awesome.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So these are very unique opportunities, but of course it comes with having a very unique skill set. Obviously you're training a lot. How long a week do you reckon you're training like?
Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you guys, man. I definitely like skateboard majority of my time.
Nice.
I definitely skateboard and like play guitar and kind of goof off. You know, there are people out there that do train. So I have a coworker, a friend of mine. His name's Jeremy Marinas, and he's kind of like a very well known, famous kind of stunt guy, young guy. He's like 32-ish. That animal trains every day. That guy trains every morning at 5 a.m. no matter where he is, what time, what he did. He is an absolute beast. He will train all day long. For me personally, if I'm working on a job, then that's different. I'll probably wake up in the morning, I'll stretch, do something. And you do fight scenes and choreography and martial arts all day long till you pretty much end. So when you're on a job, it's a little bit easier to be more consistent. You weight lift, you stretch, you train martial arts. So that's just not nonstop. So when on my off time, I don't personally like to do it as much. It kind of just it's really hard on your body, to be honest. You got to kind of relax and enjoy and do other things. So right now, my regular training regimen really would be I wake up, I'll probably do like some stretching, just eat some food. Sometimes actually I don't eat food. I'll weight lift. I have a weight vest. I have some weights in my backyard. I'll go do that, or I'll do gloves and mitts with a buddy of mine, just practice some Muay Thai. And then I'll just go run or swim and do laps and things to that nature. And then I'll go skate later. So it's pretty minor. Um, you end up for a while kind of finding a martial art that you like doing, and then you end up doing that for a bit. For me, it was jiu-jitsu for a really long time. I just kind of did jiu-jitsu only. And like I said, when you work on a movie or TV show, you specifically train all day long. So you get so much out, you get almost over hours in. So you're kind of like, nah, you don't really need to do it a lot. I also work the majority of the year doing fight choreography and all that. So yeah, sorry, I'm going on a run on. Basically,
No.
I'm
Oh, good man.
yeah, basically, when I do a job, you train all day long. You train actors, you teach stuntmen, you create choreography, you do boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu on your off time during that day. So when I'm not doing a job, which is usually like 2 months, if that, like I actually have been working since for the last 2 years. This is the longest I ever had time off, which is 4 months. So I think that's kind of why I didn't do much other than skateboard.
Nice.
Got
Yeah.
2 questions for you.
Yeah.
Good
Have
to
you ever
hear, man.
used an electric skateboard? And if someone's starting off in martial arts, what do you recommend starting with?
Cool. I've never used an electric skateboard. I've pretty much only used like a regular wood and some metal. And what martial art I recommend? I recommend you doing any martial art that is fancy to you. I mean, like if you fancy it, like if you always wanted to learn Wing Chun or wanted to learn boxing, I suggest you do that. And because you're gonna be the most passionate and consistent with it. If someone asked me seriously what they should do, I'd say, where do you live, what region, and what martial art is kind of the most famous? Like if you live in New York or Boston, I'd say do boxing because it's gonna have the best boxing. If you live in California or Brazil, I'd say capoeira or jiu-jitsu. If you live in Ireland, I'd probably say mixed martial arts or boxing again, because that's what it's known for, and that's what's gonna have the best schools. I think Brazilian jiu-jitsu or any type of grappling art is one of the best fitness workouts. You definitely get tested and humbled really quickly. It does not matter what skill or level you're on. Everyone's just a different athletic beast. So you can be a black belt and still get tapped out by a blue belt. It's unlikely, but like it could happen, and you're like, oh, holy shit. People are getting so good at martial arts now that it's kind of irrelevant. Like it's not kind of like McDojos as much anymore. Like most schools are just mixed martial arts. People are getting really good. The information's out there and it's evolved a lot. And the UFC has really changed a lot of that stuff. So it's like it's pretty easy to find good martial arts now. I'm actually surprised when people find shitty martial arts. I'm like, that sucks.
I kind of understand that it's coming from like okay, we're doing jiu-jitsu, but like, what if we want to go do striking? Like, okay, it's just MMA. We can do all of it. We can find the best version of them all combined. Like, why restrict ourselves, kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean that's why I say like, if you can find a good martial arts school, like a good mixed martial arts school, then yeah, you're set. And it's just a personal journey. Like I have a friend that really wanted to get his black belt in Taekwondo, so he just committed to that and he got his black belt in Taekwondo because he really wanted to. So for me, like I've only had one belt for a while, which was in Taekwondo, and I was like, I really would like to start another martial art. So I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because I liked Jiu-Jitsu a lot, and I'm not even a black belt yet because it takes freaking an eternity to get there, so I don't even care. I got my purple belt now, so I'm like kind of a belt and a half away from it, but that's going to be a millennium from now, so I'm not even tripping how long it's going to take. So, yeah.
Fair enough. I think we had what was his name? Peter Cassidy was on from the Hardy Bucks, and he got his blue belt recently in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, it's good.
Great
it takes
guy.
a while.
But he has been doing it forever. So
yeah. Everyone, there's no, again, with jiu-jitsu, with grappling, things like that, it's based between your professor, your instructor, and you as an individual. There are people that legitimately just start off as blue belt. There's people that are a purple belt for like 10 days and get their brown belt because they're just an animal. It just depends. There's some people that get pigeonholed and like they're a blue belt for 5 years. Like I was a blue belt nearly for 5 years before I got my purple belt. It just took me a really long time, and it wasn't even based that I was bad or anything like that. It's just I think because I excelled in jiu-jitsu, they wanted to make sure I was serious about it and committed. Oh, that noise is sick.
Who was that?
Yeah, we all know who that was. Yeah.
Good man, Dara.
Yeah, shut up, Dara.
Yeah, if you didn't notice, Dara's actually here, but he's just super quiet.
Yeah.
Don't
worry, we're firing this week, man. It's all good.
His mic is having problems.
You guys live in Ireland. How did you guys come about this? What is like? Why'd you guys want to make a podcast? What was the whole goal? Just to meet new people and talk about some cool things?
We had just finished school.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. High school or college?
High school, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's not the same thing, but yeah, it's the sort of equivalent. What's this?
My mic was muted. It was Thomas. No, it's not Thomas because Thomas has a sock over his mic, so there's no noise.
Okay. I said one day on Twitter, going to start a podcast. Who wants in? And the two guys said, "Let's do it." And I've always been like, okay, I just do it straight away. I'm worried about it later kind of guy. So I just started doing it. We went not having a script, not having anything to talk about, just talking. And then we said, okay, we need guests on. And we looked for people on TV and blah, blah, blah. I said, let's get that person. Oh my God, fix your mic.
Is it mine? I guess.
Might be.
I doubt it, man. Yo, that's not nice. Come on, man. Get out of that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Is it better now or what? Better or worse?
It sounds fine, Thomas.
Yeah, I'm very sorry about that now. Go on.
I don't know. We just want to start a podcast and do this.
That's cool. It's been going well. You guys have been having fun doing it?
Yeah, definitely. Some very impressive guests, like yourself. Oh my fucking God. Fix your mic, Thomas.
I gotta go pee. You guys figure that out.
Tara, you can unmute your mic. Okay. Oh, God, Thomas. Oh, my God. Okay, so... technical difficulties, folks. Well, you're super quiet now.
All right.
I think we got it sorted.
Yeah, we can.
Cool. Right on.
I'm sorry about that.
What was I going to ask you? Talk to us a bit about your experience on set with Deadpool. That's a pretty big movie to be in.
I guess so. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, they built this bathhouse, so it was just it's in a studio, and they built a set. The construction guys do it in SecTech, and it looks awesome. It's really fun seeing like the construction that people build. Two of my friends are the doubles for Deadpool, so obviously, Ryan will do what he can when it's on him, but when he's in the suit, it's like he's obviously not a flipper and stuff. It's not like news to anybody, but yeah. So it's pretty cool. We fought in some. What are those? What are the bathhouse gown? The underwear thing are called in Japanese? Uroshi, kumadoshi, kun, fu. Oh, fu. Oh, fumadoshi. Fumadoshi. Damn, sorry. My Japanese sucks. Anyway, so you wear this we're basically fighting in thongs. And the water was actually freezing because we thought it was going to be hot, but then everyone got fake tattoos on them. And so they didn't want to melt the tattoos. So then it ended up being freezing cold. And me and my buddy are, because we're mixed and we're also really brown, it's kind of funny that we looked like the two random people that were just at the wrong place in the wrong time in that movie set. And it's like everyone else was Japanese and we just looked like the two Mexican kids there, like, fuck. And we didn't have tattoos, so we kind of stood out like a sore thumb. He forgot to ask for get tattoos, and they, for some reason, didn't want to give me any. They were like, oh, you're the youngest Yakuza. And I'm like, what? That sucks. It was really funny.
You're gonna slice both my arms off, but you're not going to give me a tattoo?
Yeah, it was kind of lame. They covered all my tattoos because they're like, it's not Japanese. I'm like, but, yo, come on. I was kind of bummed because I really love tattoos, and I've always wanted to get a sleeve, and I thought I was going to get one on this, and they're like, no. And what was really funny is that one of my buddies, he's just such a troll. When you're on set, you try to be super professional and quiet, but you also just goof off and do things like in the middle of the take, like hit people in the nuts and like try to like mess with them a little bit just to kind of do fun things like that. And so basically when I get my arms and legs cut off, he like literally slides all the way to me and he's throwing cold water on my body and I'm like trying to play dead and he's like grabbing me by the head and it's like screaming into my ear because you have to fill up time and space when you do these fights because it's called basically like you have to create motion and you have to like figure out what to do so you're not like waiting there to do your turn. So he like slides over me, he's throwing cold water at me, and I'm like, dude, fucking stop. And he's like, no, Keanu, no! I'm like shaking my body and stuff. He's like, I'm gonna revenge you! And like things like that. So it was super distracting. I was like, God, Micah, shut the fuck up. And like that was funny. And then, Ryan comes on and he just makes up a bunch of lines. Usually they have a bunch of lines written down so they can kind of just play with stuff. He's really funny. It was genuinely hard not to like laugh during takes and stuff because he was just saying the most random, inappropriate things. He's a massive human being. Like he's 6'4", but like wide as. Like he's a big dude. I was surprised because his doubles both are pretty big guys and they're not as big as him. And I was like, oh, holy crap. Met his wife, met his daughter, talked to Blake for a little while. She's cool. She's like a chick. Yeah, they're just other than that, how'd they cut off my arms and legs? It's just like what they do is there's actually a company from New Zealand and it's a special effects team, a CGI team, and you go inside this like, I guess there's multiple ways to do this. This is actually the way we've done it in a few movies. Is you go inside this coffin, I guess you could say. It's like this cylinder thing. You walk in, there's cameras all around, like full 360, all of it. So you get scans pretty much. They just take a photo around you, and then they just have a full body scan of you, and then they just on that one they just put a Sharpie around where they're gonna CGI my arms and legs get cut off. And so what they do with most movies, because a lot of movies do have CGI or color correction, whatever it is, after you do a shot, it's called a clean pass. Basically, they'll clear everybody in the room so they can just get a still shot of the room at all angles, and they'll do like an HDR thing. So they'll take a photo of the room in a full 360 degrees, and they have these two balls, which is like a shiny chrome ball, and the other one's more matte with the color palette, so they can actually match and color all of it. So it's like a whole movie magic magician witchcraft. It's crazy. Those guys are incredible, and they work super hard.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Not even just kind of like I can't imagine being on set for something like that. It sounds pretty insane.
Well, it's both ways. Sometimes it's amazing, and other times you are just in a room that's incredibly like smoky, dusty, with a ton of dudes sitting there sweaty with pads, and you're kind of like, fuck. And it's boring. It's like blue screen everywhere, and it's not. A lot of people kind of, and I hate to like break that further. It is awesome. Sometimes you are in the Starship Enterprise, but other times you're just in a blue room, and you're like, all right, like this is not. You're just bored out of your mind for like 19 hours. You might not do anything. So. It's a give or take. There's definitely times where I felt like I was in Disneyland. They build like these huge castles or like sets, and you're like, whoa, this is crazy. And other times you're sitting in the snow, and you're like, I don't want to be here right now. I'm freezing. I'm going to die.
And do you have like a manager, or do you like just sign up for these things yourself?
It's all self-employed, yeah. So, no manager. They used to have agents for stunt people back in the day. They don't do that anymore. They do that in Japan. They do have agencies in North America, in Vancouver, and in in Canada and America. A lot of people some people are in stunt teams, so that's how they get jobs. They join a stunt team, and then their team typically will get movies, and then they kind of cycle through that way. And then typically people just kind of find work on their own. You meet you meet people, build those connections, and depending on your skill set, some people don't need to be on a team. I personally am not on a team.
And do you just say yes to everything, or are you very specific? Because looking at IMDb, looking at that, it's like it looks like you're very specific with what you'll do.
Yes, in some regards. So like, I'm specific there's kind of this division between a stuntman and a stunt performer. I'll say stuntman make it a generalization just to kind of, if I want to be brief about it, I'd be like, I'm a stuntman in the movie industry. But for me, I'm more of a stunt performer, and it's kind of like, and the reason why is because I try to pay my respect. I mean, it's really respecting the men and women out there that are like hardcore, jumping out of buildings on fire like 300, 400 feet, uh, smashing cars, rolling them. You know, I have friends that are just brutal, gnarly stuntmen, do really dangerous gags. I was never a fan of that. When you do start in stunts, you do have to do that. So a lot of misconceptions from my friends are like, "Oh, you don't ever do stuff like that." I'm like, I did, just I hated it. I didn't like it. I was really afraid to get hurt. My dad has gotten his head split open, like from right here, almost died, door exploding on him. Got stabbed in the eyeball. He's ripped and exploded his MCL, ACL. His leg has been snapped in half. He's gotten heat stroke. I've gotten heat stroke. I've cracked a rib before. So like anything like that, I've just not. I try not to do it myself. I kind of look at the longevity. I definitely am not the toughest stuntman out there for sure, and I have no problem with that. So yeah, I turn down jobs if they're kind of wild. Hey, like yeah, sorry, I'm not suited for that. I think somebody you can find will do it a lot better. But I also yeah, just there's somebody out there that might do the job better than I would. So I didn't take every job. And I wasn't addicted to working on every movie. And I wasn't addicted of like having the most credits or anything like that. I was definitely more lenient. I like having my own time. I like doing jobs that I can excel in and learn. And also planning out the stunts that I do. So I really enjoy being on a stunt team because if there's a bigger gag that I want to try or do, I'll have more time to prep it with people and like really have control of how it kind of goes. And plan it. I'm not a big fan of just showing up on the day or showing up 2 days before and just doing something kind of wild. It's not my favorite, especially if I don't work or know the guy very well. It's like you're putting a lot of trust on a bunch of team that you don't know. So that's personally my thing. Everyone's different. Some dudes are like full send mode and they're down for the cause, and I have mad respect for them. So yeah, I am a bit selective. It depends on where it is too. Like I said, I like to stay home. I've been traveling more for work, going to the East Coast. It's really cool to experience new places and work with new teams, but it's hard to be away from your friends and family and your home and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah, that is a part of it, definitely.
I have some badass friends, man. Like my friend Lars. Have you guys ever seen Hot Rod?
Hot Rod. I think I might have seen Hot Rod.
You should check, yeah, Hot Rod with Andy Samberg. Man, in the opening scene, I would go on YouTube and watch Hot Rod opening scene right now. That's what you got to do. Check this out. My friend's nuts, man. He's
No, man, not Hot Todd. Come on. What?
Hot Rod. What do you
Hot Todd's not hot, man. Come on. I'll look up the opening.
Okay, look. Yeah, this small truck jump. All right, check this out.
Jump. Oh dear God. Oh dear God, what did your friend do?
You'll see.
Look at Dara. Dara's just having a good
I'm gonna
time.
give you guys some like insight of like how badass like stuntmen and stunt women are, or just stunt people. I'm nothing like this. I'm not a gnarly dude. I do pretty fight scenes and like I'll occasionally do the random stuff, but a group of people I know are just savages. Absolute savage. Even my dad was actually pretty gnarly. He would like get down with it. I think that's why I just like watched him and I saw him get fucked up too many times. So I'm like, I'm cool.
This was your friend?
Yeah, so my friend Lars, a lot of the stunt performers on this were pretty sick. They're on X Games mode. Yeah. So this is the bike. So you'll watch. I'll explain it why this looks so brutal.
Oh God. Oh shit. Oh shit, man! I'm gonna watch this now later on, like the entire movie.
Oh, I didn't realize it was a push bike.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, my friend. So on that thing, he snapped his femur in half. He broke it like he full on snapped it in half. It like folds fully and like, yeah, they use the actual take, and that happens a lot. Like they'll use the take that people get mangled on, like fully. If you ever see something that looks like it hurt in film, it's because it hurt. Like that guy actually like put his face through the wall, or he fully sent it to the floor. I had a friend that did a Scorpion in the Batman movie, and he actually like they did a breakaway of the floorboard, and he just face planted through the floorboard. It's crazy.
Ah.
Um,
Do you hear that
yes,
thing with Leonardo DiCaprio? He like cut his hand on a piece of glass, and they used the actual tape for the
We
movie he was
smashed
in.
the whole thing.
yeah. If you
Yeah.
ever see anything that looked like it hurt, or it's a person flying through the air, rolling downstairs, falling on their back, rolling down a mountain, whatever it is, it's real, and that guy really did that. Like, and they
Hmm.
hardcore. So I watch a lot of movies and people are like, "Why are you freaking out?" I'm like, "Cause I know that dude, and that dude actually did that, and like his hand exploded. Like it's real. They're
Ah.
legit. Yeah, they're they're awesome.
Oh man.
Stunt
That.
women are definitely the most hardcore for sure. Stunt women are so basically they do the same stuff except they do it in a cocktail dress. So you can't
Hmm.
hide pads. You can't have knee pads or elbow pads. So they're doing like on the so there's a thing called a ratchet, which basically you have a harness on, they have a line, and they press a button, you go flying. And they do that stuff straight up, just like in a dress, in high heels. You do fight scenes in high heels. They are brutal. And because it was such a man's job for such a long time, like a man's world kind of job, they had so much to prove and overcome. And like yeah, I mean, all my stunt friends that are women are just my favorite. They're badass. They're badass. It's cool, man. They work their ass off. They full send. They are not scared. They are good, and they're getting better. Yeah, it's cool. Stunt women are sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Earlier, where we just kept saying, where we kept thinking like, stunt, like, how long till he's gonna be like stunts person or whatever. But yeah, obviously people might not realize women do it as well. Like, come on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Someone's like, they wrote in my thing. They're like, I wrote like stunt man. They're like, oh, it's a stunt woman. I'm like, it's same thing. Like actors kind of prefer. They don't really prefer actress or actor. They're kind of like, oh, we're just actor. Like, so same thing. It's just stunt man. It's just the name. It's like stunt man. It's kind of stunt man, stunt woman, same thing. Uh, I call stunt women stunt men all the time. I'm like, oh, she's a stunt man. It's like people get kind of confused, but it's just a common term we do. It's too.
Yeah.
That's why stunt performer is another big one too. But yeah, like one of my bosses, Melissa Stubbs, she's a savage, man. She's worked on every movie ever you could do, but I've seen her like, there's this one gag she did where basically, like the side of a truck, right? Like, you know how a truck had a clearance to the floor to the bottom of it? Basically, they score the top of the van and she drives through it, and so it rips off the top of the van, and she basically just has to duck. She drives straight into it full speed and then ducks so she doesn't get her head ripped off. Like, yes, stunt women are crazy. They're so good.
I better be paid like a lot of money to do something like that.
It's
I
yeah,
was like, oh, if you don't time it right, your hair's gonna come clean off. But also, don't do it too early so it looks real.
yep, no, that's pretty much it. It's all calculated risk, and you try to rehearse it the best you can, and hopefully your team and your prep time is good. But anything could happen. It could be a very, very dancing with the devil kind of job. You're definitely like, okay,
Yeah.
I hope I don't die. Um, Also too, like another thing that's important, I always want to share. Like one time I did this fight scene with my friend. She's a girl, and we were just coming up choreography, and people were tripping. They were like, "You can't fight a girl," blah blah blah. I was like, "Okay, just to let you guys know, a lot of stunt women really want to do a job. It's called non-disclosure, and it's not fair to them because that's majority of the work. Like, not every person can double an actor because most actors are like, usually they're like 5'4" Caucasian or 6'2" and Caucasian, and not every stunt person's white and tall.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of women that don't get the opportunity just to be a random character or do that, and they totally can. And it's definitely happening a lot more now. Like people are definitely cooler with it. But yeah, it's this whole other piece. They don't get the opportunity as much, and it sucks because they're wicked and they should. So yeah, it's like I hope that will keep happening because I have a lot of friends that are girls that are really good at stunts and they're really good at fight scenes and they're really good at just performing, and I trust them, and I think they should definitely have that opportunity or that door to be open. And that kind of just bases off of people like audience watching it, if they can kind of let go of that thing of like a girl can't fight. It's like, yes, they can. 100% they can.
You ever seen the UFC?
Yeah, it's like chicks are gnarly. I literally, some of my best friends I watch and learn from, like, because they're just so good at martial arts. Like, yeah, and they have sick experience, man. They do some tough shit. They are badass.
I used to do kickboxing, and I had my ass handed to me more times than not by female fighters.
Oh yeah,
It's like
same here.
we're practicing together, obviously, because small clubs, you have to fight everyone, and yeah, often ass whooped.
Man, like, I don't know. It's just yeah, the first fight I ever got in was with a girl at my own school, and she kicked the living shit out of me, and now she fights professionally in Bellator. So, yeah, you know. I mean,
Enough said there.
dedication and discipline doesn't have a color or gender. So if you want it, you're gonna get it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
That's such a quotable thing. Say that again.
What's up?
Dedication doesn't have a.
Yeah, dedication and discipline doesn't have a color or gender. So if you're gonna want it, you're gonna get it. I mean, I believe that with anything. Like, you know, I think human beings and individuals are very capable of doing anything they do want to do within reason. Obviously, the average person, and a lot of people definitely hold themselves back, and they get in these really. It's the type of lens you look at yourself through. That's what I try to do in my TikTok lives every morning. I'll have a book, and we'll read about, like, basically self-help books, and we'll read and discuss. One of them is about just the lens you look at yourself through. A lot of people allow others to place an identity on themselves, I guess you could say. Like your friend goes, oh, growing up, everyone's like, oh, Thomas is dumb. Like, oh, Thomas is super funny, but he's just silly. Well, he might reflect on that and think, oh, I'm stupid, I'm not capable, which is silly. Everyone's capable. If people need to learn how to overcome that, and they also have to have people out there telling them to overcome that, and that they're very much so capable of learning and excelling in their own life, and they just have to give themselves a chance, and they have to be dedicated and have that willpower to overcome that. And everyone matures differently too, right? So it might take you a couple years to figure out who you are and what you want, but you can never move if you're stagnant. So if you're the type of person that looks in the mirror every day and just going to be complacent with where you're at, then you're not going to grow. You kind of have to face the man in the mirror, and if you want to change something, you got to go ahead and try it. It's going to take a few times, and it's no problem. There's so much resources out there. There's so much knowledge and power, and yeah, I think that's, again, like, why I respect women so much, is that they had so much adversity overcoming, and I learned a lot from that, because I grew up with mainly my mom, and she's one of the smartest ladies I know, and she never stopped learning. She never stopped trying, and she never let anything hold her down, even when she was put in a position where it was really easy to give up. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Nothing stopping yous.
Sorry, guys.
What do you think's next for you? In turn, like, movies, stunts. You gonna do more acting or anything?
Yes. Sorry, guys. 1 second. I was supposed to do this raffle. Cameras go to the guys, give me 1 second. I apologize.
Right.
There's this raffle that stuntmen were doing, and my friends are raffling off a car, and I've still not gave in my money for the raffle, and he's gonna get pissed if I don't do that. So I'm gonna do this right now.
What car is it, man?
It's a BMW. It's a drift car they just built. So usually when they do a drift car, actually Ireland has a really big drift scene.
It does.
There's a couple documentaries.
You hear it every single night. Trying to sleep, and yeah.
Actually, probably especially where you guys live too. Of course, I don't know where all it is.
So, Dara, you're awfully quiet.
Yeah, Dara, what's up with you, man? You all good?
Anyone... This is so stupid. Anyone who's listening on, like, Spotify and all that, like... He hasn't said a word all podcast. It's like we're pretending he's here, but he's actually here, communicating in sign language. We keep ignoring him.
Dara, people may tell you you're dumb, people might say, "Hey, Dara's stupid." Those people are absolutely goddamn right. You hear me? Dara is dumb. Dara is stupid. Dara has no friends.
I'll leave Dara alone with you. So, Dara, can you try to use your mic like right now?
Ah. All
You
right.
muted yourself.
Word.
Oh my god.
I can try.
Oh,
Oh, there he is.
yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Still
It
very
worked for a
quiet.
second.
Sorry, guys. Just a couple seconds.
That's all good, man. We were just giving Dara some motivation, you know?
Don't you
Motivation.
worry.
We'll talk about that more in a minute. I love talking about stuff like that. I'm really into like lifting people's spirits and telling them that they're worth it. Because they are.
Come on, Dara, take it away.
Good
Jeez,
man, Dara.
I feel bad for the people listening to this one on Spotify Labs. Look, we just got
Yeah.
Dara miming, doing a saxophone cover of the Jeopardy theme song.
What a guy.
All right, boys, I'm good to go. Sorry about that. Yeah, like, it was funny. They like waited till everyone signed up for their roster, and then they were like, okay, yeah, now everyone send their money, and I'm like, that was kind of a weird way to do it. I figured you could just send it when you signed up for it, but he was all getting annoyed. He's like, hey, raffles due. Okay, yeah. So where am I going next in my career? Well, since COVID, we were working. I kind of worked for Jason Momoa the last year or two. It's like a friend of mine and really good a really good friend with his double, and
Not bad.
yeah, he's a cool dude. Um, working the show called C, and when COVID happened, basically every movie ever shut down. So they are now starting to pick up in some places, and right now I haven't worked in like 4 months, so I don't really have a plan. I'm kind of just playing on TikTok. I have a bunch of interviews now and like podcasts that people want to do, so I've been doing that. I've been working on my own like footage and things, and working on other business kind of ventures, and I don't know, just having fun.
You said to us this was like the first time you've done an interview.
Yeah.
What do you think you got suddenly like this huge group of people wanting to interview you and talk to you?
Oh, that's a cool question. I don't know. I've turned down so many because I've never felt comfortable. I guess I really don't like talking about myself. I think it's weird. And two, I guess I always felt like I wasn't qualified to. When I started to, I think now I have a little bit more confidence and a little bit more back. I guess I have the resume / I have a reputation that's I think kind of respectable a little bit, at least amongst others. And yeah, just a little bit more experience, so I'm not gonna just ramble about dumb stuff. I think I was a little bit younger, and I was really afraid to say the wrong thing, and I wasn't necessarily, yeah, just didn't have the experience in the industry to have an opinion on that. So I think now I have a little bit more confidence that I know what I'm talking about, at least a little bit, not a lot. I mean, I never mind saying that I don't know the answer to that. So yeah, it's been cool. I've been selective on some people. I've also like, there's this one of my friends now, actually met off TikTok. He's from Mexico, and he's doing his first podcast in English with me. So that's been pretty cool. And I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome that people are interested about the movie industry, and I have the opportunity to share some light on what I do and kind of the behind the scenes on stuff. Because there's a lot of information out there that's not entirely accurate, and I see it, and I'm like, I might as well just help everybody understand it.
Because people appreciate that. And if someone wanted to become a stuntsman or performer, where would you tell them to start?
It depends where you live. So let's just say you're lucky. You're from Ireland. All right. Okay. Yeah, you're going to have an awesome hard time. You're going to have to move to the UK. And the UK, to my knowledge, has all these certifications and requirements to even become a stuntman. It's very rigorous. It's very difficult, and very, very difficult to even become one. So we actually had a friend that just moved there. She was from Japan, and she had to go through all sorts of bells and hoops and whistles to be taken seriously and actually get those credits and credentials. I don't really know how the formula goes. They're very good over there. They're very well trained. They have some of the best guys out there. They do some of the best movies. So I would say that you should learn a basic thing is go to your local gymnasium, start learning how to do just gymnastics, acrobatics if you can. Learn some martial arts, train that for a while. If you have a background in racing, drifting, anything like that, that's definitely good, depending on, what your skill sets. Make a reel, make some type of highlight reel, put together what you do well that shows off your skill sets. Don't make it too long. Make it pretty straightforward, things to that nature. And then you would want to join a background agency. So you need to get on set. Somehow you need to get on set to meet a stuntman or a stunt woman or a stunt coordinator, because it is who you know and not so much what you know. So one of the ways is people would join a background agency or an extra, and you become an extra just in a TV show or whatever it is. And you just basically, it's really good because you understand how it works to be on a TV show and what it's like working those hours to even see if you want to be around it, because a lot of people don't. It definitely sucks up a lot of your time. But from then on, you can hopefully meet somebody on set that's a stuntman or a stuntwoman and ask them, like, hey, how'd you get into this? Where should I go? Where should I train? Where do you guys train? Anything that your brain can kind of think of. And if they're cool, they might give you your number, they might give you the place, and you go from there. Everyone has a different journey, especially when you know no one in it. So it's kind of based on your dedication and determination of how badly you want to make it happen.
So you've definitely told that story before, or given this answer before.
I've given it on TikTok probably around 900,000 times, and you do end up, it's really common because you do get people all the time in the movie industry asking how to get into stunts. And a lot of it is, if I'm going to be really honest, it's like, it does matter of your personality. Like, you need to be sociable and smart, common sense, don't talk a lot. You need to be adaptable. You don't have to be the best fight person, but being athletic really helps. Being capable, I guess you could say. There's a lot of factors that go into it. Your look could be a big thing too. There's not one shoe fits all. Like if you're, like I said, you're 6'1" and white and you're really athletic and have a good look, you might double a lot. But if you're 5'2", Samoan and 600 pounds, it's going to be difficult to find work, so it just really depends on what movies are going around too. So I think if people really want it, there is room for everybody. It's just, they might, how do I explain it? It's like, you're like, oh, I want to be a stunt double for Chris Hemsworth, but you're like 5'6" and Asian. It's like, well, that's not going to happen. And some people kind of forget about that, right? They're like, oh, I want to fight Deadpool. It's like, well, if you don't know any martial arts, you might not fight Deadpool. So I think the big thing is just being honest with yourself, knowing what your skill sets are. If you have an end goal, try to reach that end goal and go with the flow.
Yes.
Sorry, that was not as helpful. I try to give a new answer
it was.
every time I do this.
We're actually running out of time.
But you said really quickly,
you want to say?
You wanted to ask us about you said you wanted to ask us something about Irish, or you said you have a bit of a Irish heritage, right?
Yeah. So I knew that we had some family that actually are from Ireland and Scotland, and my mom ended up doing the 23andMe test. And she said that we had family in Ireland, and I thought it was called Merrill Island that my great grandpa was from, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, just I don't know. I don't really know much about Ireland. What is some stuff that you guys want people to know about Ireland? I never knew that the accent is not as thick as movies and all this stuff make it. It's rather easy to understand, but obviously there's going to be different, like in the north or the south, the accent's going to be a little bit thicker and such.
I would think my accent is fairly thick, lads. What would you say?
I'd say I toned down my accent completely for doing the podcast. I think Dara is trying to say he's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of people don't know there's an Irish language.
I can't pronounce it. It's Gaelic, but it's not how you say it.
Gaelic.
Yeah.
Gaeilge in Ireland, and then just Gaelic if you're talking about Scotland. But they're basically the same language, like a dialect difference.
Mm-hmm.
There's about the same difference in them between like British English and Jamaican English.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really is very similar. That was a bad example, but it's really similar.
Mm-hmm.
We normally teach a guest a little bit before they leave. So, anything you'd like to learn?
Yeah, how do you say hello?
Oh, that's so easy. Jesus, man, that is like the nicest one we've ever gotten. Someone said, yeah. So repeat after me. Dia.
Type it in for him. Type it in so they can see.
I'll kind of like give you a rough like how. So you go D, Dia. How we do DEA, Dia, and then it's like because it's Dia, Dia Gwit.
Dia Gwit.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
You gotta say that. You gotta say that faster. So it's like Dia Gwit.
Dia Gwit.
Oh man, I love it.
I think its direct translation is like God with you.
But we kind of take it as hello.
God to you, but it's hello. It's like the only way of saying hello in Irish.
And there's definitely a surge. A surge is the word I'm looking for. The language is being kind of revived again, right? People are more comfortable with speaking it and learning it. No, really.
Well, the Irish state was started in 1922, and their first priority was to get everyone to talk Irish in it. And they did it so strongly, they actually made people go away from Irish and want to speak English more. English is the language of business. You want to do good, you need to know English.
Right.
That was the attitude they had, and they just... It's part of our education system, and people, when you're in school, if you don't know another language, you're not going to be enjoying it. So they kind of hate doing Irish classes. Mm-hmm. So in the end, it's kind of like, okay, it's either you did really good in school with it, or you have a different reason for knowing it. But it's in decline at the moment, sadly.
I see. Do you guys find
we say a thing like Cúpla Focal, like everyone knows their few words of Irish.
Right.
But no one could really talk fluently and only in Irish.
I see. Is the heritage and the history of Ireland, is that something that's still like instilled? Do people really know, like young kids would say like 15, 16, do they know the history of Ireland or anything like that? That really sucks. I hope that if you guys do like that stuff, you guys can share that once in a while on the podcast as well, just to like educate some people on the history and how Ireland came about and all that stuff, because it's really fascinating, really cool.
Ireland's story is just constant conquest. Mm-hmm. But like us being conquered. So not a fun story.
Did you guys watch the movie Foreigner?
Foreigner?
Yeah, it's with Jackie Chan, but it takes place in Ireland, and it kind of goes off with the IRA, actually. But it's a cool movie. But I'm curious if you guys watched it. How do you guys just feel about it? Because
I've never heard of it.
Check it out.
I'm planning to check it out now. Yeah.
Foreigner
movie.
There's another Irish movie I just watched the other night called The Cured, and it's brutal, man. It's really well done. It's quite scary. It's about like what a world would be like if there was a zombie apocalypse and then they cured the zombies, and so some people are like cured from being infected, and it goes through like the PTSD and like psychology of just like how the hell it was like. So this one's really gnarly. That's an Irish movie.
So it's like they ate people and stuff, and they're dealing with like
post-traumatic. Yeah, pretty craziness.
Horrible.
That's
Jesus.
very unique. It's very unique.
Hardcore. Yeah.
Did you watch Normal People by any chance?
No.
It was a big show here. Pretty recently.
We don't have that many shows which really show off Irish history or culture, unlike America and England, where there's so many.
So, because I know we're running out of time, so I'll ask this. So, for your guys' self, where do you see and want your podcast to go? I mean, other than going with the flow and not having a script and all that stuff, but is that something you guys are really looking forward to just to keep doing in the future? Is it a hobby? Is it something you want to do professionally?
Well, no matter what, it kind of opens opportunities anyway. Like we have the opportunity to grow it and then maybe have a studio and have more Irish people we know in Ireland.
Right.
We could keep doing it online with different people. Just keep making our way through people who've done all these amazing things. And that's what I love right now, talking to these people who've done amazing things and had these opportunities.
Right.
We're all going to the college, so it helps a little bit. If I'm talking to film people and I'm doing film next year, that helps.
Right.
If we have scientists on, like we've had before, Dara's going to be doing marine biology, so that's helpful to him.
Wicked.
So, plus, it helps your conversation skills and so on. It's kind of like a personal development thing as well. Like, we have to start a conversation with someone we probably don't really know about them or about a topic we're both interested in. So, yeah.
It's awesome.
Right on.
Only way is up.
Yeah.
What about you? Would you ever start a podcast?
That's like my ultimate goal. It's always been.
Really?
I want to do a podcast so bad. Yeah, I've actually
do let us know.
3 different people I've asked wanted to do it, and one of them was so paranoid about COVID. He was like, no, I don't want to. I was like, all right, fine. My other friend, it actually doesn't live. He lives somewhere else, and so we tried to make it work, but it was quite difficult. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get the experience just by being interviewed and being on a podcast to see some, trial and error, see things I like, see things I don't. And I want to build my following a little bit more. Yeah, exactly. Just connecting, networking, seeing what it's like. And then I'll kind of go from there. I haven't really I don't want to do it by myself. I definitely want to do it with a mate of some sort. And I haven't really found that.
It's very difficult to do it by yourself. You couldn't talk for an hour by yourself.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, like, you're like, hey, how's it going? You're like, hey, like, that's cool. Yeah. So it's kind of nice to have that banter and have, like, you guys, you got your buddies and being able to.
I just agree.
Also, too, like, everyone has a different point of view and different questions. So,
yeah.
It's good,
Very true.
Having that option is great.
I don't see them as buddies. I see them as guys who make my life a living hell.
Yeah. This guy.
It's funny until
if people want to go check you out, they want to follow you, where can they find you?
Damn.
TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, man. What you on?
Find me on Tinder, bro. Yeah, you can
see my Vimeo account.
You can look me up on. So everything is. I kind of stayed consistent with this. It was actually So my people always wonder what Wild in Valhalla is. So if you type in Wild in Valhalla, that's my YouTube, it's my TikTok, and it's my Instagram in Valhalla. Yeah.
You big fan of Norse mythology?
So even though our family is from, like, I guess Ireland and all that stuff, but my mom's ethnicity is Norwegian, Danish. So we are related to some Vikings and shit. So I was, like, super into that. I ended up learning how to speak some Norwegian and reading how to read Norwegian, and I was trying to study the Danish language as well. And that's why I have, like, these runes on my arms and whatnot. But anyway, it became a joke because when you do stunts, I've always just like, Odin's gonna be pleased, like, send it to Valhalla, and, like, it was just like a war cry kind of stuff, and it was really funny, so I did it as a joke. And, like, before TikTok, I never posted stunt stuff. I really never posted fight scenes or anything like that. I didn't really care to. I'd be pretty discreet about it. So I would always have these, like, random names on my Instagram. Like, my name would be, like, Tandy Miller from, like, some TV show, and then people would be, like, super confused. Anyone that knew me just knew I just, like, goofing off and making characters up. So Wild in Valhalla ended up now sticking because my TikTok exploded. Like, I only made TikTok, like, 3 weeks ago. So in 3 weeks, I have, like, almost 400,000 followers now. So it's pretty bananas. So I kind of just made it consistent. So, yeah, Wild in Valhalla. It's my Instagram, my YouTube, TikTok. If you guys want to see me punching people in the face, that's pretty much it. On a serious note, I like every morning around 8, 9, I read on there, just like self-help books, and we just discuss and kind of have a chat. I call it Conversations with the Stuntman. We just talk about life, talk about psychology, philosophy. I try to, and like I said, I have a lot of younger viewers, and I try to inspire them to be the best version of themselves, whether if they're, maybe a kind of fat or skinny or whatever it is. Just tell them that they're capable, and they have me to support them. So yeah.
I'm sure people appreciate that, and people don't really understand how helpful that is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. Sorry, someone's calling me right now. Just 1 second.
All right, man. We'll let you go, and thank you so much for getting on.
We got to finish up anyway, but thank you so much for getting on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm sorry that a couple times my phone was going off.
It's fine.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. I'm sorry if I if I didn't answer some questions thoroughly, but I really appreciate it, and it was a lot of fun. So thank you so much for having me on here, and I hope you guys go well and go far. And I'm looking forward to hear some of your other stuff. So right on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Same goes. Let us know if you set up a podcast, and we'll stay tuned.
For sure. All right.
Be keeping a look on your IMDb as well.
Okay.
So take it handy anyway.
Cool. All right, guys. You have a good day, huh?
You too, man.
All right.
Take it handy.
Later.